this thing drops, we get out the way, eh? So I'm working on the next string mountings. I got the top cleat up. I just have to get the cleats on these panels. I've got the cable, so we should be able to get this done in the next couple of days. So run into a problem. The holes that I countersunk for the washers are too small for the washers that I've got left. The guy at the hardware didn't have all the same washers. I only realized afterwards he gave me some small and some big. So I'm going to have to make those bigger so I can fit the washers in and use the router to do it. I've marked where the hole needs to be for the bigger washer, so I'll just clean that out with a router. Okay, so most of the donkey work is done. Cleats are up on both sides. Now getting ready to get junction boxes hooked into the conduit that I've got on top of the roof to get the cables pulled. And then we can start hanging panels and get onto the interesting bits, connecting up and see how much we can actually make in power. Okay, so next phase. We need to get junction boxes drilled so that I can get them into the conduiting system that I've already got on the roof, so we can feed the cables from the panels into the garage where I'll have the charge controller. So this is the conduiting, if you see it along the wall, that I fitted quite some time ago, as you can see from the state of it. That was for cameras, etc. I'm going to run the cable for the panels in the same conduit. Just trying to make sure I don't cut through the network cable for the cameras. Getting it level. Marking where to drill the holes. There we go. It's not the right drill bit, but these cankies are so soft you don't. coming in from there. So this is the mess of cables I'm dealing with. Now you'll notice I've only got black cable. So what I've done is put 2 red strings of tape and 2 white strings of tape signifying positive, negative and string 2. There we go. The cables are sorted. And the same for the second string. I can close these boxes up now, they need to get into them again. All done. Well, the 2 boxes are done. Lots more wiring to do. I still have to finish off here, but I need to disconnect these 2 strings on the garage roof in order to do that. And I don't want to do that until it gets darker. Okay, let's go.
Must have some food for you.
Finally cleared all the crap so I can get to the trunking to get the next 4 cables through for the 2 strings. And there you have it. Hopefully I can get 4 more cables through that hole, and that's why it's in the trunking, so you can't see the mess. So the current plan is the cables from that MPP charge controller I'm going to bring down and use them to add an extra string on the one inverter that's just shy of 4 kilowatts. It'll bring it up to a total of 4 kilowatts on that, and then the extra 2 kilowatts will be cabled in to the same switch box over here, and it'll have its own 2 circuit breakers that will then feed back up to that charge controller up there. The trunking exposed and the gaggle of cables. Okay, so last night I got the cables sorted out and pulled through for the other strings, chopped them off, put them through the wall because they were just going over the wall as a temporary solution. So the next step is to feed these 4 cables through the wall and get them hooked into the circuit breakers down below to connect into the MPP charge controller. Here we go. It's going to be tight. This is all live at the moment, so I'm going to have to watch myself because it's a DC. Luckily it's not too sunny, so if I get zapped it'll only throw me halfway across the room. Hopefully I don't get zapped. I'll get the drill in here to drill this hole for the cables to come through. Besides which, I don't want to really drill through there and run the risk of hitting these cables and damaging them. So I'm going to use the Dremel tool to just cut the hole out. Be the safest option, I think. Anyway, let's see if I screw this up. That'll do. Okay. Alright, so what we're doing here is I'm taking the cables that we're feeding into this charge controller from the temporary panels on the roof. I'm going to use these cables to add an extra string to inverter 1. So I'll have 5 circuit breakers and 5 strings for inverter 1, and then the 2 new strings will come into another 2 circuit breakers here, and then back up into this charge controller. Okay, so that's string 1, positive, negative. Now I've got to be careful here because this is live. Negative. I've got to make sure these are tight, you don't want them arcing. I need to make this hole bigger. It's not going to be big enough for all of the cables to come through. So I'll undo what I've done and start again. We're on the homeward stretch now. Mainly cleaning the panels back and front before we put them up. I have to put the cable ends on each end there. And then we're almost ready to hang and connect. Okay, so the cables for the 2 new strings are pulled through. The cable that was feeding the charge controller is also pulled through, and I've got the 3 new circuit breakers in here. I've got to bring this one into connect into here so we can feed the 5th string into inverter 1, and then these 2 cables over here are going to route up through the trunking to the charge controller up there. First 4 panels clean. Mandy's cleaning the next 4. Cable ends are on. The one bank, got to do the second bank now. Finally, 2 kilowatts on the back of the garage. Let's see if it makes a difference. Typical, minute we get them up, goes cloudy. Oh well, I'm sure it'll be sunny tomorrow. Okay, so it's all done. 2 new strings in the back of the garage. Those two 32 amp circuit breakers there. I've added another string to the first inverter, so they'll have 5 strings of 3 panels, so 5 times 750 watt, and that one has 4 strings of 1 kilowatt each. Today, cleaning the spare panels I've left lying on the roof. Just had nowhere to store them. Shouldn't have done that, but give them a good clean. Put new cable ends on because they've corroded. That one and those 2 over there, and then we'll add them in as an additional string on inverter A. Next string of panels cleaned. Just have to replace the cable ends and then we can hook them up. And there you have it, the final string added onto inverter A. New ends on the panels, all wired in. Just got to go downstairs and throw the breaker and see how much extra that's generating. So that's a total of 9 strings on my 2 main inverters. One string's 4 kilowatts, the other one's just shy of 4 kilowatts. And this is our battery bank. 25 kilowatt hours of lead acid. I wasn't prepared to spend the money on lithium when I first commissioned the system. The price was exorbitant. One day maybe we'll replace and upgrade to lithium, but not before the price point improves. I'm now done with my solar panel setup. Okay, so it's 9 a.m. We've got 1.33 kilowatts coming in on inverter A, which equates to 20 amps charge. But we're only generating 53 watts with the 2 kilowatts on the back of the garage. That's to be expected though, because they're not in any direct sunlight. As you can see from the shadowing on the wall, these panels are hardly getting any sunlight. The later it gets, the better it will become. I'll come out at lunchtime and do some more readings. Okay, we're done. It's finished. I don't have to fiddle with them anymore. Well, that's what I say now. We're generating at the moment, probably charging 30 amps into the batteries while we're drawing 4.6 kilowatts. The 2 kilowatt array on the back of the garage is delivering 18 amps of charge. It's just over a kilowatt in power, and I'm very happy with that. When the sun is a lot closer to the horizon in winter, I expect those panels to reach their full potential of around 2 kilowatts. So that's it for our solar panel update. I will be putting a video together in the fairly near future of how we landed up with the solar system we've got and how I put it all together and installed it. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you learned something from us. If nothing else, how not to do something. And remember, stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time. Now time to top off the batteries with distilled water.